morning. We will not have a Zoom today, but we are still required to fill out an attendance form and to complete our assignment. Okay, so when you're in Google Classroom and you click on your classwork tab, okay, the attendance form is going to be posted under today's date, 10/19, unit rate on graph. Okay, and I put some steps there for you to follow in the order that I would like for you to complete your assignments. Step 1 is to open this attendance form. Okay, when you click on it, it is going to take you to a form that looks like this. If you would just please fill out the questions and submit, that would be great. Your second step is to watch the video that I will post, and it will help you complete your Jamboard assignment on unit rate on graph. Okay, when you are on step 2 and 3, if you open this Jamboard and watch the video, it will help you with the first example. Your learning target for today is to find the unit rate on a graph. Okay, and your checklist is to identify the y-axis label, right? So the title of the y-axis, and to look at what your scale is counting by. Okay, your step 2 will be to look at your x-axis label and the scale of what that one is counting by. Okay, step 3 is to set up your y over x labels. So I want you just to set up what the titles are, okay, as a fraction. And then step 4 would be to locate the y value first on the y-axis, and then you're going to move right to wherever your x value is. Okay, so we're going to do this slide together as an example, and then you will be responsible for the remaining slides. Okay, so if we notice on this one, there are 4 different answer choices, right? There's 4 different graphs that could suit our description. So if we read our description, Judy can decorate 3 cakes in 5 hours. Which graph has a slope that represents the number of cakes per hour Judy can decorate? Okay, so if we follow our steps right on our checklist, we're going to look for the y-axis label, the x-axis label, and then we're going to set them up as a fraction. Okay, so the y label, okay, if I get a text box, I can type right here. On each of the graphs, my y-axis label is number of cakes. Let's make that bigger. Okay, my x-axis label is time in hours, right? So let's get a text box. And the color of it doesn't matter, guys. You can change the color if you'd like, or leave it that way. Okay, and then we're going to set them up as a fraction. Okay, so we're going to take number of cakes. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it. Okay, that's what would go at the top of my fraction. And then time in hours would go at the bottom of my fraction. Right, so if you see, I have them looking like a fraction, right? Then if I go back to my word problem, I can see 3 cakes. So that number 3 would need to be at the top, right? So if I'm writing it as a fraction, 3 would be at the top over 5 hours, because I'm aligning it with how I set them up as a fraction, right? Number of cakes was 3. Time in hours is 5. So I set it up as y over x. Okay, so if I go look at my problems, right, my different graphs, I'm going to look for the y first on the y-axis. Okay, so if I go up to 3 on this one, and I move to the right, if I find 5, right, if 5 lands on my line, then that is my correct answer because I would draw down to my 5 hours. So I know that A is my correct answer, but we're going to go ahead and go look at the other graphs just to make sure that they're not correct. Okay, so if I find the Y, okay, I'm looking for 3 first, right? And then I move over to the right to try to find 5. This one stops at 2. So I know that this one is not correct. Okay, let's go to C. If I find the 3, then I try to go over to 5, it doesn't go all the way, right? It stops at 1. So this one is not correct. And the same thing with D. If I go up to the 3, I move to the right, my point stops right here at point 5, so I know this one is not correct. And that's how we would complete the rest of the slides. Up to slide, let me see. Up to slide 6 is how we would complete those. For slide 7 and 8, I'm going to help you with those, okay? And then you can go and complete the rest of the slides and submit. On this slide, please be careful or notice that I did put the Y scale because I do want you to take your time and see what your scale is counting by, okay? Okay, on this one, slide 6, you need to find a good point first, right? So a good point here would be 3, 5. And I'm saying 3, 5 because it's 3 on the Y, 5 on the X. But if we wrote it as a point, that would be backwards, right? Our point would be 5, 3. Okay, but because we write our fraction as Y over X, right, we would need to set this one up as 3 divided by 5 to help us find our unit rate. Okay? Okay, slide number 7, you're setting up the fraction, and then you are answering what operation you're going to use, right? So if we set them up as a fraction, what operation should it be, right? Okay. Now our last slide, okay, we're still finding unit. Okay, it gives me some information in my word problem here. And then I'm asking you a question here in blue. Can we find 6 miles and 48 minutes on the graph? So you're really going to have to pay attention to your scale on this one. If you cannot, right, if your answer is no to this question in blue, then you have to find your unit rate. Remember, unit rate is slope. We set it up as a fraction, y divided by x, right? Okay, once you've completed these slides, you can turn them into Google Classroom and you will be done for the day. I will see you on Wednesday.